build it, you demolish it. The legendary Homewrecker Burrito. Come build yours today with 20+ fresh ingredients.
First online order, 10% off. Promo code ONLINE.
Welcome to Moe's at Cameron Village for Over the Boards. I'm Logan Ward, joined here as always by Mike Gazzillo, head coach of the NC State IcePack. Coach, thank you so much for joining us as always.
Thank you for having me as always.
Now we're going to jump things off just a little bit with the season recap, just looking over how things have gone. 23-0 on the season, a very good record. Following that up, got 2 back-to-back 20-win seasons, absolutely spectacular for the program. Started the season off with a 14-1 win against Duke, following that with a 10-2 win over ECU and a 16-0 win over Richmond. That's 3 back-to-back games with double-digit scoring for the IcePack. You always love to have hot starts like that, but what did that mean to really just jump out of last season and get the ball rolling here in this season?
Yeah, we had a couple of different line combinations. We've got some new guys, and wanted to see what everybody can do, and certainly want to pick up where we left off. And we had a pretty good opening stretch there. And
looking ahead after that, followed that up with against MSU Denver to kick off the Liberty Showcase, the first loss of the season on October 11th, 2-3, a hard-fought game, but just coming up short. But finishing the showcase out very strong against UMass, a team that beat you in nationals last season, and also beating Liberty as well, the hosts. Now, going 2-1, certainly a spectacular showing, first loss of the season. How did that really go for the team?
The Denver game was definitely a much tougher game than the games before us were. I mean, that's just, I'm not being disrespectful for the other teams. It's just fact. I mean, they just were a faster, more physical, better hockey team. So I thought we did really well. Losing's not the end of the world every now and then, I mean, kind of keeps you in check, puts things in perspective. But the guys rebounded well. We came out the next day and we played UMass, and that was a really good game, and it gave us some momentum going into Liberty because, they're always very difficult to play against, especially at home. So yeah, it was, the guys, you learn to take your losses, learn your lesson, put it aside, and go out and play the next game.
Liberty, of course, ranked number 2 in the Southeast rankings for the ACHA right now. Certainly a tough team, and having that win under your belt is fantastic going into looking into regional play and even the ACCHL tournament. After that, losing back-to-back against Stevenson and St. Joe's, both tough losses, but those were the last losses so far on the season. Haven't lost since October 19th, rattling off wins all the way up to UNC in the Governor's Cup. Of course, a big win and a very big platform at PNC Arena.
Yeah, I mean, that game's always, it's almost like a season in itself, right, if you think about it. I mean, there's so many people there, and, for the guys that never played on ice, for both teams, it's, pretty special, and it takes a little bit to, get out there and kind of be able to put the crowd behind you, but it's always a big game, and it's great when the Governor can come down, and, obviously a game against UNC is always going to draw really well, and it was a good night.
And looking at a couple more recent games, facing off against Delaware in back-to-back nights, and then only having one night off before facing UNC at PNC Arena again, but managing to win those 3-1, 11-4, and 9-3, back-to-back games again, and then following that up just a day after that. What are the challenges in really managing to keep your team focused, especially when you've got fatigue playing against 3 very good opponents like that?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm glad that the first game was the 3-1 closer game. I don't think anybody really anticipated the second game going the way it did. I mean, but, it was, the guys were just ready to go. We knew that playing them meant a lot for us going to regionals. We knew we were in pretty good shape, but, you're going to get a top 10 regional opponent in your building. And so the guys were definitely ready to go for that. And then, there was a concern on my end about the Monday morning hangover, and then, going out and playing, another game and, being a little tired, which I think we started to show a little fatigue towards the end of the UNC game.
Yeah.
But, I mean, it was to be expected. But overall, I mean, I think we played a better game that night than we played UNC the first time we played them.
And going back just one night, you mentioned playing at home against Delaware in that 11-4 win, playing at Raleigh Center Ice potentially for the last time. What was it like going back to your old home turf and really playing out there again?
You know, I hadn't really given that too much thought until somebody mentioned it, and then when I walked into the locker room, and honest to God, when I walked into that locker room, I literally saw faces from the past. You know, it kind of was like, wow, I do remember being in here, and I do remember, you know, guys like Mackie Heyman and Alec Engel, you know, Camaras, that crowd. Going all the way back to guys like Harry, my first coach when I first got here, and Oki and all those guys, and I was like, wow, this is pretty cool, you know. I kind of kept it all to myself, but you know, I didn't want to really distract anything. But then I do believe Tim kind of said, you know, this obviously that place is scheduled to close.
Yeah.
Whether it happens or not, who knows? But I know it's scheduled to, so odds are good that probably is the last time we'll ever play there.
Exactly.
So it was good. A little trip down memory lane, and it was good to come out with a win.
Of course, finishing strong there, 11-4, and looking at your two most recent games, a little bit of a Virginia road trip to close out January, a 9-2 win over UVA, and then a 7-0 win against new opponent Richmond. So winning those games, really going into the last two games of the season, managing to win those away games, what's that like rolling into these final two games?
Well, I mean, you got to learn to play on the road, right? That's definite. Wasn't able to get anything scheduled with Wake going into like the weeks leading up to the end of season tournament, which was something I would have liked to have tried to do, but it didn't pan out. So, you know, yeah, like I said, you got to learn to play on the road. Again, we know that the UVA game, while it didn't count for ACC points, did have some regional impact for us. And Richmond had some ACC impact because that's a divisional opponent, you know. So the guys knew what had to get done going in, and, you know, they went in and they took care of business.
Now, looking at that long list of games that we just went over, one thing stands out, and that's the fact that you have not lost at home this season. Really a great stretch of games, 20-3-0. But playing at home, what's the importance when you've got that home crowd, that home energy? Does it really play into things?
Yeah, well, the first thing that comes to mind is thanks for the announcer's curse, because we've got another game Friday, so you may have trouble getting out of the building, FYI. Yeah, we got senior night coming up, you know. I mean, it's always good when you can play in front of your home crowd, you know, when you're in your own locker room and, you know, sleep in your own bed at night and stuff like that. So, you know, I think the guys are definitely excited, you know, for it. We know Wilmington, again, ACC points on the line, divisional rivals, so we've got to get you know, a jump on them. Not going to be easy. You know, I know Wilmington's a good team. They've had some struggles, but some, you know, isn't really their fault, you know, over the time. But, you know, nonetheless, they're a good team, and they're going to want to come in because they're looking for points too, right? So, and then we're on to Charlotte on Saturday night, so never easy to go down there. They're a good team as well, and now you're going into their building, so it'll be a good little tune-up for, I believe, next weekend.
Now, looking back to that last loss, rebounding from that 5-3 record, rattling off 15 straight wins since October. What was it like really trying to figure things out? Of course, being undefeated at that point last season, a little bit of a different thing this season, but still an exceptional record. 5-3, no slouch, but rebounding and rattling off 15 wins like that. What really turned things around?
I don't know. You know, we always go into every game wanting to win.
Yeah.
The game plan is designed to win, right? Now, it's unrealistic to expect that's always going to happen. It's great when it does. But, you know, you lose, you know, you got to put it aside and just go on to the next game. Or, you know, some of the wins we had, I mean, they weren't necessarily great games that we played, but we did manage to come out ahead. But, you know, you got to put it aside and just go on to the next one. And that's just take it one game at a time, go out and try to win, and we'll go from there.
Now, looking at some of the bigger games this season, of course, facing off against UMass, a team that you faced off in Texas in the national tournament. They broke your undefeated streak last season. It had to feel good getting that 6-2 win at the Liberty Showcase. What's the importance of really bouncing back from that loss last season and turning it around and beating them this one?
I could be wrong. I think we played UMass Amherst last year. And
Instead of
so
UMass
the
Lowell.
tournament. So we had Lowell come. I mean, and they're both good teams,
Yeah,
right?
of
They're
course.
clearly they're both good teams. Lowell, I think they had a little bit of a slow start, but they're back on track, and I think they're in the top 10 in their Northeast division. And
Yes.
we know they're a good team, and you know, again, it always feels good to win local games, but when you get teams that you never really see and you don't really know much about, and go out and, you know, again, if you play a good game and you have some success, it's always a little bit of a boost for you.
And looking at those local games, like you mentioned, UNC playing them twice this season, both at PNC Arena. We've talked a lot about the importance of those two games, but winning the Governor's Cup 8-6 and then winning the Backyard Brawl 9-3. What's it like managing to continue to win in that rivalry?
Well, you know, kind of basically I told the guys if I need to come in here and get you guys excited for playing this game, there's something definitely wrong. There's a huge disconnect. It's one of those games where we know it's going to happen. Everybody knows it's going to happen. We don't know necessarily what the date's going to be right away.
Yeah.
But once we get that date locked in, that's one of the first things guys are looking at, you know. And so it's playing the game or two before that game that you have to make sure the guys are focused on, don't worry about UNC right now.
Yeah.
Let's get through this, then we'll deal with UNC, you know? So, yeah, it's always a big thing.
And looking at Delaware, ranked number 8 at the time when you played them back-to-back, number 5 yourselves at the time, managing to win those back-to-back games, and not looking just at a ranking standpoint, but what does that do for team morale, managing to come out on top of a very good opponent in Delaware?
Oh, absolutely. You know, it's good. You know, the guys, there's a lot of lessons to be learned in the games, right? You know, as far as maybe what we did good, what we didn't do good. We may face them again. You know, some guys like to look and say who they played to see how we would match up, which I don't really think you can do, but
Yeah.
it doesn't necessarily stop other guys from doing it. But, you know, again, when you're winning games against teams you somewhat know, it's great. When you're winning games against teams that you don't frequently see,
Yeah.
and they don't necessarily play the same teams you do, yeah, it's definitely a good morale booster.
Of course, the IcePack now ranked number 4 in the Southeast. Delaware has fallen to number 9, but still continuing to play well in the Southeast Division. Now, looking at all those important games this season, what game do you think has really meant the most to this team so far?
That would be a very good question. If I had to guess, I would say probably the back-to-back Wake Forest games, because Wake always plays us tough, and they're a very good opponent. They're well coached. Got a lot of respect for the guys. They're definitely they're not like a chippy kind of team or anything, you know. And Dave's a very good coach over there, and Dave and I get along very well. And so we know we're out for a battle, you know. Not a lot of penalties, just good hard hockey. And so winning that and then coming back and doing it again, probably was a big point for us.
And of course, Wake Forest hosting the ACC tournament last year. Coming into this one, looking ahead at the ACC tournament, what faces do you really expect to see that you guys have played a lot this season?
In terms of opponents, I don't even know it's completely decided yet.
Yeah.
I think, you know, teams like George Washington and Virginia Tech, pretty sure Georgetown's in there, we're in there, Wake is in there. My guess is UVA, I'm pretty sure they are. And then I think there's quite a few teams fighting for that 7-8. So this weekend coming up, there's a lot of points on the line for teams, and, you know, what teams do against their opponent and what other teams do that affect their, you know, it's all the mathematical thing now. So, I mean, it'd be nice to play a couple of teams that we haven't faced this year.
Yeah.
You know, like maybe if West Virginia were able to get in, because I think they're still pretty close. They have a chance. But, you know, it is what it is. Whoever they throw us out against is who they throw us out against, and we'll play. That's it.
Still far from decided on the season. Still plenty more to come. We're going to take a quick break right here.
Build it, you demolish it. The legendary Home Wrecker Burrito. Come build yours today with 20 plus fresh ingredients.
First online order, 10% off. Promo code ONLINE.
Welcome back to Moe's. I'm here with Mike Gazzillo of the IcePack, continuing to talk about this season so far as we enter February on the year. Still plenty of hockey left for this IcePack team, but the continued success in stepping up against tough competition in the region and really just local competition as well. How have you guys managed to keep up this success, and what has really sustained this offense that you guys have kept going?
I mean, we've got some pretty good kids that come in from juniors to us, right? And you know, the important thing, and I always say, I want character guys, not guys that are characters, right? And everybody could have their own little, you know, personalities, and that's great. But when it comes down to, you know, getting serious and, you know, being a team player, being good in the locker room, having good leadership helps that, you know? So I think having a good blend of guys kind of helps us out quite a bit.
And of course, bringing the success from last season, making it all the way to nationals in Texas, coming into this season, have you really seen the impacts from last year on this one, or has it really kind of been two separate seasons?
Yeah, it's definitely two separate seasons. I mean, you know, Sam's not here, and Sam was a big part in the locker room, and Ryan Kinney's doing a great job, as is Eric Todd and Cam Mazakowski. So they're doing a great job for it. But I mean, Sam was kind of a presence in the locker room for the past 5 years, and you know, and on the ice and the whole bit. And sometimes I would get a little aggravated, maybe we'll say. And Sam would come up and, hey, you need to calm down. And I'd be like, okay, yeah, you know, you're right. Not many people come up and tell me to calm down, but he got away with it, you know. And he was right. I mean, realistically, he was right. But yeah, I mean, I think the leadership is good. The schedule's a little different, you know, in some of the teams that we played, and so yeah, I mean, it's nice to have carryover in a sense of, you know, looking what you had as a team and then taking it into the next year and just augmenting what you've lost. But other than that, it's a brand new season.
And looking at some of the faces that were lost, Sam Benishevitz, Joey Hall, Eric Mira, just to name a few of the big faces that were lost from this team. But you've also had a lot of new guys step up, really. Among them, Chris Solomon, who's stepped in and played an immediate role in how great this offense has been this season. What has his inclusion on the roster really done for this team?
I mean, he's got a great hockey IQ, and he's got great hands, and you know, he's kind of quiet. At least that's how he comes across his freshman year. Maybe that's not necessarily the case, but you know, the guys all seem to like him. And I mean, again, he probably knew a few guys coming. I know he knew a few guys coming in, and that's true of a few of the guys. Like they've known, they played against or with some of the other guys, and now they're on the team. So that kind of transition helps, you know, when you're first coming in. You know, playing on lines with guys like, you know, Parker and Eric Todd, and guys that he knows, it helps a lot. Yeah, but Chris is a very, very good, very smart hockey player, and I think he's going to have a great future here.
And looking at some of the other newcomers, a lot of young defenders, freshmen on the roster. Gavin Bathgate, of course, comes to mind. What have you liked from all of the newcomers on this roster?
They have, you know, realistically our top four with Vic, who's a freshman, and Cam and Devin and Ian. The leaders, those three guys, have done a great job bringing the new guys along. We got Brendan Seppi still from last year. We had Miles last year. Now he was doing a co-op, so we didn't have him first semester, but we've got him back. So coming back and knowing some of the guys. You got Ricky, Alex Katz. They're all good guys. They all want to play. They all played at a pretty competitive level. They're all willing to learn. They're all willing to take their medicine sometimes when they're number 7, and you know, they know they'll get their shot and go out and make the best of it. So, you know, they know we need a strong defense. You know, defense wins championships, certainly. I mean, it's great that we have the scoring power, but we got to play on the other side of the ice sometimes, and so they understand their roles. Tim does a great job with them, coaching them. So I think we're in pretty good shape looking forward.
And looking more at the defensive side of the ice, goalie play this season, of course, a big factor. Guys like Josh Cannon, Ian Hutchison, Jess Tart, and now Griffin Hunt stepping into the fold. What is it like knowing that you've got a bunch of capable goalies back there, any of whom can step in and play?
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much exactly right. Anytime I leave those decisions to Alex and who's playing, he'll let me know, and it's never really an issue with me. Griffin was not admitted to the school until his second semester, but he was practiced with us first semester, so we got to know everybody and stuff. So that was good. It's good to get him out there and get him some game time, and things are a little different in a game than practice. The communication has to be right, and just the way guys react to certain things. So that's a little something that we're kind of working through, just because he hasn't really had a lot of chance to get games. But yeah, we've got 4 pretty talented guys back there, so it makes it's a nice problem to have, so to speak.
And having those 2 veteran guys like Jess Tart and Josh Cannon. Josh Cannon, of course, number 2 in save percentage in the ACHA last season. But having them and a young freshman like Griffin Hunt, what's it like having a balance between those senior players and those that are coming in and really trying to find their feet under them?
Yeah, I mean, the important thing is that the guys who are seniors treat the guys coming in, whether it's goalies or defense, forwards. We always want the older guys to kind of mentor the new guys coming in. Everybody recognizes Griff's got some pretty good talent. Jess and Josh are, they're very different personalities, but they're still good with them. I think Ian is coming back next year, or if I'm not mistaken. I think he's got one more year left. So they all know kind of the systems we play, and they all know the guys, and they all know the rinks, and they know what it's like to go on the road and stuff. And that's just something as a new player you have to kind of understand what that's about.
Yeah.
Most guys, I find most of our guys, get on that pretty quick. Sometimes it takes some guys a little longer to, get their feet under them when they're not at home. But the leadership of the team is doing a good job with them.
And looking at the offensive side of things now, of course, a very strong season, plenty of double-digit scoring attempts here this season. You've got guys like Chris Solomon, Laith Jadala, who have both really made a name for themselves. Solomon, of course, we've talked about new this season, but Laith Jadala coming into his second season, what has his impact really been as he's kind of taken on a larger role in the offense with Sam Banashevitz gone?
Yeah, actually, Laith came into last year when he joined the team. I think the day of tryouts he decided to try out. Hadn't really been playing, kind of showed a little bit, but he got his feet under him pretty quick because he's a very good player.
Yeah.
But over the summer and then going into this year, he lost weight. He stayed in shape, and I mean he's a horse out there. He works on all 3 zones, and the guys love him, and he's got a great shot, and he's got a good mind for the game, and I could put him with anybody, and he'll be successful. So yeah, Laith is one of our seniors. We're definitely gonna miss having him.
And looking at some of the younger players who've stepped into their own, really, Alex Robinson, Parker Zarek, Riley Johnson, that second line from last year, who have really stepped up and started playing some really good hockey out there. What do you think about their progression and how they've done in their second year?
Oh, I mean, they're at the top of the scoring of the team, and I've taken them from being a line, and I've put them with other people, and everybody's, scoring, So, again, guys that can play with anybody, guys that are skilled guys that, buy into what we're doing, and, they want the success of the team to come first, and, I mean, knowing we got them for 2 more years is definitely a plus for us. They're going to be great. They're going to be great leaders for the guys.
And looking at the rest of the roster, Eric Todd winning ACCHL Player of the Week honors to close out January. Been very impressive of late. Having guys like him, an assistant captain who can really step up when you need him most. What's it like knowing that you can rely on the back lines to really come into their own and step up when other players may need them to?
I mean, Eric he's kind of quiet, but he's a very good player, works hard. I know he was on the 4th line last year, but it wasn't a skill thing. It was I wanted his leadership with the guys he was with.
Yeah.
And that line was successful. And a lot of that has to do with Eric, and the way he was able to get those guys to play together. So now we've had an opportunity to move them up, which is something I've been wanting to do. And, opportunity knocks, we answered. Put him with Parker and Chris. And, he had a great weekend against Delaware. I think he had like 5 goals and 3 assists, and he's been on fire since we got back second semester. And he is a great compliment to those 2 guys. So Eric Todd is a very good player.
And talking about the offense, the defense, and the goalie play, what aspect of your team have you really liked most this season? What have you liked that you've seen out of all the guys?
I don't know. We're playing well in the defensive zone. We're playing. Obviously, we're shooting. We're getting goals. The defense is. The goaltending. They're stepping up and making great plays and keeping us in games. Sometimes that they're tight. Whether they are tight just early on or whether they're tight all the way through. I don't know necessarily that there's one thing that really stands out that I like. I think just the character of the guys and the way they're working together, and nobody's getting down on one another or anything like that. Locker room's tight. I think it's all good right now.
And now looking ahead, only 2 more games before tournament play begins for the ACCHL, and then looking ahead to regionals. But these last 2 games against Wilmington and Charlotte, what do you want to see out of your team in these final games of the regular season?
I don't want to look past them to the ACC end of season tournament, but I want them to play like they're ready to play in that tournament, if that makes sense. I want 60 minutes of hockey. I don't want slow starts. I don't want time off. We just have some, ups and downs. All teams have it, but, we're trying to get them into a mindset that if you want to go and you want to compete, for a championship, end of season, for regionals, for nationals, then you've got to stay at that consistent level all the way through. You can't, have your ups and downs, because you're going to run into teams that aren't having ups and downs, and then you're just going to get yourself in a little bit of hot water. So I think the games this weekend are big. I think the opponents we're playing all the way through are all going to be good. They all want to knock us off, right? We won last year, so everybody. I think the more you win, the bigger the target on your back gets. And I just want the guys to understand that. There's just because you won last year, you're not owed anything. You have to go out and earn it, and you have to go out and play it consistently. I think we have a lot of speed, so we have to use our speed, and I think we have some good firepower, so we got to take our shots, and we got to play in all 3 zones. And I think the guys get the message. It's just kind of trying to pound it home, one game after the next.
And looking a little bit further ahead, 2 regionals being held in New Jersey this year. What's it like playing those games that are further away from home? Of course, had a lot of success at home this season, and of course some success on the road as well. What's it like when you have to go all the way up to New Jersey and play games out there?
Well, the nice part about this is we are not going to play Friday night. We're going to play Saturday. So we will go up there on Friday. So we don't have to worry about bus legs. We're going to get up there early enough so guys can get up, get a good meal, get some good rest. The guys are disciplined on the road in terms of, taking care of themselves, being ready to play, eating right, getting the right amount of rest. A lot of guys, will spend time doing homework and stuff, which is, is good.
Yeah.
But I don't really think the location matters as much. We were expecting it to be at Liberty and kind of surprised that it wasn't.
Yeah.
But that's not a decision I ever have any say in. But I think that the guys will get up there Friday, and they'll have as much of a chance to rest and go into the game on Saturday fresh. I think that'll help us.
Now, to finish off the show here as we come to a close, do you have any goals, personal or for the team, as you close out this season? What are you really looking to get out of the rest of the season?
A win every game we play. Realistically, I would love to see the guys I would love to see them win so that they, we get a first place finish, because that's not a guarantee. I would love to see the guys go on and win another banner. We've got the one hanging at the rink, and there's some guys that aren't on it, so it would be nice to see the other guys get on it. We got the new jerseys and the new logo, so it would be nice to get that on there.
Yeah.
And then you go to regionals, and anything's possible, right? So I think the guys that went to Dallas want another shot at going to Dallas, and the guys that weren't there have heard enough about it, and some of the guys that were there have the helmet stickers, and the other guys don't. And so if you want one, but I'd love to see us have an opportunity to go up there and win, and go to nationals and just do the best we can.
I'm looking forward to watching this team for the rest of the season, Coach. Thank you so much for joining us here. This has been Over the Boards here at Moe's at Cameron Village. I've been Logan Ward on behalf of PackTV, bringing you into the Pack.
Build it, you demolish it. The legendary Homewrecker Burrito. Come build yours today with 20+ fresh ingredients.
First online order, 10% off. Promo code online.